me tell you something shocking. Netflix thought they were signing on royalty, but instead, they ended up with a sinking ship. Meghan Markle entered that deal believing she was about to reinvent herself as the next Oprah. But instead of prestige and ratings, Netflix is now stuck untangling a multi-million-dollar disaster. What began as a glittering partnership has unraveled into a financial migraine. And the timing couldn't be worse. Netflix tried to spin with love Meghan as a smash hit. They hyped up season 2 like it was proof of a thriving franchise. But here's the twist. It wasn't even a true second season. It was just leftovers, recycled content from season 1, dressed up as something new. Audiences weren't fooled. Ratings nosedived harder than anyone expected, and now the executives are left scrambling to contain the fallout. And Meghan, she's spiraling. Insiders say she's livid because this entire deal was supposed to be her grand rebrand. She wanted to cement herself as a Hollywood power player, a media mogul who could keep the spotlight fixed firmly on her. Instead, the cash is drying up fast. Netflix, after seeing the catastrophe unfold, slammed the brakes. Budgets were slashed, projects were canceled, and payouts that once looked massive are now barely a fraction of what was promised. Let's talk numbers. Meghan was reportedly set to pocket a jaw-dropping $5 million for an upcoming holiday special. But after the season 2 flop, that figure was hacked down to just $800,000. That's not a haircut. That's a financial guillotine. And it didn't end there. Meghan had another series in the works, an untitled travel show with a $2.5 million payout attached. But once the ratings collapsed, that too was scrapped. Her paycheck flashed to around $450,000. Between those two projects alone, she's watched nearly $5 million in expected income vanish. Insiders say she completely erupted when the news hit. Reports claim she even confronted Netflix chief Ted Sarandos directly, accusing him of caving under boardroom pressure. The exchange wasn't calm. It was fiery. For Meghan, those checks weren't just about money. They were the fuel behind her bigger vision, launching her own reality, funding new media ventures, maybe even building a social empire. Without that financial backing, those ambitions instantly stalled. To make matters worse, the funds Netflix stripped from her projects are now being funneled into safer bets like Stranger Things and other flagship titles. In other words, Meghan's budget is being used to bankroll rising stars Netflix believes can actually deliver. And that, according to insiders, has left her fuming, jealous even, feeling replaced, discarded, and cornered. She's now trying desperately to claw her way back into Netflix's good graces, or threatening legal action if she can. But here's the truth. Netflix won't say aloud. They've lost confidence in Meghan Markle's star power. Executives are done with overspending, exhausted by the negative press, and frustrated by disappointing returns. What they hoped would be a global draw has instead turned into a $25 million sinkhole. Wasted marketing, scrapped footage, and a season so poorly received it became a cautionary tale. Behind closed doors, Meghan is no longer seen as an asset. She's seen as a liability. And that reality is driving a ruthless shift within Netflix. Cut the losses, protect the brand, and move forward. For Meghan, the unraveling feels personal. Ted Sarandos, once her most loyal supporter at Netflix, had fought hard to greenlight her projects, even when others doubted. He truly believed her name could capture a global audience. But once season 2 tanked, even Ted couldn't defend her anymore. The numbers drowned out loyalty. Executives broke down every detail: production costs, marketing spend, audience retention. The results were brutal. Viewership didn't just decline. This wasn't apathy. It was rejection. With no options left, Ted was forced to present a survival plan. Scale back every Meghan project, limit her involvement, and redirect funding to shows with proven potential. The board signed off. What had once been an investment was reclassified as a liability, almost overnight. Meghan, meanwhile, felt blindsided, even betrayed. She lashed out not only at Netflix, but at her own PR and management team, accusing them of failing to protect her image. She had been counting on those projects to bankroll her next wave of ventures. Instead, she's been left watching each dream collapse in slow motion. Now lawyers are circling. Her legal team is reportedly combing through contracts for loopholes, arguing Netflix cut funding on already agreed terms. But insiders say those same contracts included performance clauses. And when season 2 bombed, Netflix had every right to scale down her payouts. With her Netflix pipeline drying up, Meghan is now scrambling. She's pitching ideas to streamers, networks, even independent distributors. But the isn't just about low ratings. It's about baggage, overspending, endless PR storms, and a brand that looks increasingly like a gamble instead of a sure thing. In today's brutal entertainment economy, risk is the last thing companies want. For the first time since leaving the royal family, Meghan isn't just fighting to stay relevant, she's being quietly pushed out of the spotlight. Still, she won't go down without a fight. Determined to stay visible, Meghan is pressing ahead with plans to launch her own self funded media empire. Reality shows, podcasts, even a new digital hub across social platforms. But here's the problem: without Netflix's bankroll, those dreams are wobbly. High production quality doesn't come cheap, and the clock is ticking on how long she can stretch her resources. Behind the scenes, she's been contacting private investors, brand partners, even YouTube linked studios, pitching a new unscripted series about modern royalty. But so far, no one is buying. Executives know her history. They've seen the backlash, and few are willing to bankroll another potential flop. Making things worse, Meghan now carries a reputation that complicates deals. Insiders describe her as controlling, resistant to feedback, and obsessively hands-on about every detail, from lighting setups to script phrasing. That kind of micromanagement might be tolerated if her projects were thriving. But with her track record, it only raises more red flags. Her clash with Ted Sarandos wasn't just tense, it was a breaking point. Multiple sources claim she accused him of humiliating her, questioned his loyalty, and stormed out of their meeting. For Netflix, that was the final straw. Now, the company has shifted into full damage control mode. Budgets once earmarked for Meghan's projects are being rerouted into surefire winners like The Crown and Stranger Things. Marketing dollars tied to her shows have been quietly cut. And inside Netflix, executives are preparing to sever ties entirely once current commitments wrap. Meghan's camp, sensing the inevitable, is pushing harder than ever to squeeze value from what's left, planting interviews, stirring headlines, even teasing behind the scenes drama in hopes of salvaging her relevance. At the same time, her team is trying to spin the narrative that Netflix set her up to fail, that she was never given true freedom or backing. But insiders say otherwise, pointing out she had near unprecedented influence over her projects. Fans are split. Some still insist she's being unfairly targeted, her shows undermined by bias and toxic press. Others, even longtime supporters, admit something feels wrong. The PR storms, the canceled deals, Netflix's silence. Her base is shrinking, and even the buzz online is fading. The question now isn't just whether Meghan can recover, it's whether anyone is still willing to bet on her. Because right now, her brand is teetering at the edge of being quietly pushed out of Hollywood. And as of this week, reports suggest she's still pitching to multiple platforms. But industry insiders say the response has been cautious at best. Meghan's ambition is still there,